I trust online payments. I work for a company that does that. Okay, I'll address that in a minute. It's strange. We started off in 2001 as a payments company, and the thought was, that at that point in time, as you're all aware, all payments have to be routed through a bank. And traditionally, banks have been offering a payment gateway. And why is there a need for an additional player like us to come in and do the same thing? Essentially, it was a mindset that a banker's mindset, justifiably so, is more towards risk rather than growth of the business at that point in time, at least. And we said that there are a lot of small players and SMEs out there whom a bank would not consider as safe to give a payment gateway to. And if I can take guarantee for that small customer and provide the bank with a thick pipeline of transactions, the bank is happy and I can grow the business. That's essentially the mindset with which CCAvenue, one of the brands that we have, started off in 2001. And we said, hey, this is an unbeatable proposition, a friendly payment gateway. And so if you build it, as they say in the marketing textbooks, they'll come and buy it. And we sat and waited, and nobody came to buy it. So we sat and looked around saying, hey, I made things simpler, I made things better for the customer. Why are they not queuing up to buy it? Then we realized that the differentiation from the bank in terms of the product offering, maybe we could work on that. So there were credit cards, which was offered by the bank, and there's net banking, which was just emerging as a part of payment process. So we said, okay, let's tie up with multiple banks and look at more payment options in our payment gateway. That way, our customers get more customers, and therefore the business will grow. So we added more payment options into the bundle, and we kept on adding more and more and more and more in payment options. But it really didn't cut ice in the market. So I was wondering what was the issue. And then slowly it dawned upon us that actually a lot of businessmen out there do not understand technology, and they do not want to dirty their hands in building technology. They would rather have someone do it for them and give it to them as a bundle. So the front-end shopping cart, which we need to sell online, is something that we developed. We started developing tools which helps them to broaden their scope of marketing in terms of CRM packages at the back end. We started building, multiple, tools in which, like, let's say if you're an exhibition and you want to collect funds from somebody without going through a website, then, there's a virtual terminal that you want to build in. Suddenly we realized that we built a whole lot of front-end tools for that merchant, and suddenly we became an attractive proposition. Why? We've taken the headache out of the entire business, payments business at least, and let him focus on what he does in his core competency, which is marketing and building his products. Essentially, if I were to take the same analogy back to the hotels industry in this country today, I think it's the same mindset that is working. The large five-star chains apart, where there's a fairly sophisticated mechanism well in place to run it, all the 2, 3, 4-star hotels in this country are fairly fragmented. They're not aligned with any major brands. If you notice, a lot of Western, middle and low-level brands, chains, are not really made much headway in India. A lot of hoteliers are smart enough to realize that they can run the business pretty well. They don't need to part with 8-10% to an international player just for the brand name and some textbooks to run their businesses with. They're very smart enough to run their own businesses. The reality is that they're pretty shrewd, but they're afraid of technology. We've had countless of number of interactions with a lot of hoteliers where the resistance is that this is too complicated for me to take on, and I'm not sure if I want to get into this. My traditional channels of businesses are giving me fairly good business. I don't mind parting with a higher percentage to those guys as long as the business is rolling in. And I don't really need to get into the online space. That's basically the mindset that we've come across. And what we've done is we've built, as a payment company, we built a front-end complete solution for the hotelier. We built an entire web engine where they can upload their inventory. We built an entire inventory management system where they can pass it on to the GDS and the IDS. We built in a front-end system for them to bring in their channel partners along. And suddenly now you realize hoteliers are interested and they're taking interest in this whole thing. And today there are 1,000 properties who are actually using the systems that we built in the front end. So slowly and steadily what is happening is that the mindset is changing, and as the mindset changes, the sophistication starts coming in. As more and hotels start competing with each other in the online space, and she's absolutely right. The best available rate should be on that website. You have to learn to be marketing savvy in terms of being able to push your inventory. And That's where the cut lies. Now, if I were to take another part of the argument, which is internet really the medium for the hotel to sell his inventory? Now, if I were to look at where the growth is going to come in from for this country, it would be the 2, 3, 4 stars who are right now fragmented. As fragmented units, it's difficult for them to market. They're not marketing savvy. There's a gap, and there's a gap which has been filled in beautifully by the companies which actually aggregate all the sales and push it out. It's been filled in very well today, but in the long run, a hotelier will say, hey, it's my brand and I'm going to grow my brand. And when I'm growing my brand, I make sure that I get in my share of pie on my own website. And for that to happen, it's going to take a little while, but as long as there are intermediaries which keep pushing the inventory, it'll be great. Now, for a 2, 3 star hotel, a 5-star target audience obviously is the right target audience. So if you're looking at educated audiences, they will run through the search engines, they'll run through the trip advisors and look and make decisions and choices about the hotels they pick on. But what about the guys who are the large segments in this country who are not internet savvy, as customers I'm talking about, who are not friendly with internet, who do not understand internet, who don't have the language skills to look on the internet and look for the hotels? Again, there is a need gap here, which is, do they need hotels? Of course they need hotels. So what do they go to? They go to places where they offer, like the travel agents down the corner. And today the travel agents down the corner are limited by their scale of operations. If I have a small shop in a small corner in a small town, the number of hotels that I know and the number of hotels that I can reach is fairly limited. And it depends on my past relationships that I've built over the few years. What if a technology provider gives me access suddenly to a large inventory on my desktop, right, of 1 lakh hotels? Suddenly I can grow my circle of influence and I have a much larger audience and I can have a much larger business. I can take this own thing and with my own white label engine and online and have my own travel agencies, www.xyz.com online, and start growing my business there. Then multiple of such players come in and they start competing with each other, and suddenly we have a ecosystem which is kick-started and running beautifully because there's competition and there's better rates happening. Those who are not internet savvy and those who are currently looking for hotels, I think one-stop shop guys are here. It's a perfect example of how, multiple services are being rendered in the real world at much smaller. Our hotel fields are today, driven by all their travel agent sets over there. So the gaps that are there are going to be slowly filled up. So I'm pretty upbeat about the way the business is going to grow. And I know that wherever the gaps exist, the Indian ingenuity is going to come in and plug in that gap as a business model. In the long run, what's going to happen is the suppliers are going to get smarter. They're going to realize where the money lies. They're going to realize where the growth lies. They are going to get savvier as they go along. And they're going to start investing in building their own brands. That's when the real ecosystem will have come into full being. Moving on to the payment side, why is there, let's say, distrust about payment options, etc.? It's a mindset. It's a myth that has been created by, to an extent, the media, created by word of mouth. I think I've said this countless number of times. It's the disaster mentality because, like an airline crash, it's spectacular and it's so horrifying that everybody sits up and takes notice. But nobody realizes that more people die in car accidents than they do in airlines. Yet airline travel is not, every time you sit in an airplane, you're kind of shivering and shuddering. I hope it takes off well. I hope it lands well. It's a perception and it's not a reality. And for people to come out of it, I think they need to travel more in airlines. That's when they realize, hey, it's pretty safe. And the same thing happens when you're shopping online. If you shop online and pay online, it's pretty safe. The Reserve Bank of India has put in excellent processes in this country, which protects the end customer, right? And today, to my knowledge, in our systems, as I'm aware, not a single person has lost money because the moment a customer sees on his statement something which he has not bought or purchased, he can go back to his bank, card company, whatever, and say, I did not make this transaction, and the money is put back into his account. No questions asked. Then the onus is on the merchant to prove that the delivery has happened and the transaction has been fulfilled, right? It's one-sided against the merchants to an extent, but the customers are extremely safe. So there is no reason why this mindset should exist that purchasing stuff online is not safe. Of course, you need to be You need to have a sense of common sense. There are a lot of phishing sites there who want your card details, who want your bank account details. That's why there's a trap. The moment you act like a fool, really, on the internet, you're bound to lose your card data and your information. Nobody's going to sell you a 20,000 mobile for 6,000 rupees. Because the moment you clock in your pay now button, they will have taken all your payment details and they would have showed you a failed transaction and all your card details and all your details are lying with somebody. So you have to be a little smart and be careful about using your information on the internet. Having said that, it's pretty safe to transact on the internet. That's it for now. I'm open to any questions you might have at a later point in time. Thank you.